but some of us, when we started and graduated, corporate was the only way we would make money and we would grow ourselves. Today, when you have management trainees coming in, new people coming in, if you ask them, what do you think their aspirations are in terms of career management? Do you talk to them? What do they say?
Faster career progression.
Faster career progression. What else do they say? Flexibility.
Quick wins. Quick wins.
Quick wins, clear development plans. What? Work-life balance. And that's why sometimes they gravitated towards entrepreneurship. And I don't know, again, whenever I talk to anybody, is there anybody under 30 here? 30 years of age? Okay, good. So now tell me, because this is my perception, so you guys can validate. I'm obviously much older than 30. I mean, a lot of them, they say, हम कुछ ऐसे job करेंगे, then we'll do our thing. Is it still a thing?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah? Why is that?
Because we can't do the 9 to 5.
First they want to explore and then get the first experience, see that how it works, and then they execute it.
Okay, but what, some of you who think that way, who are sort of Gen Z or under 30, why do you think that? Be your own boss?
Yes, exactly.
Getting something new, experience.
Okay, and so that's quite interesting, and we have one entrepreneur sitting here, but I can also tell you, I left my corporate job much later in life, and I had 25 years of corporate experience. In Pakistan, I was fortunate enough, some of the colleagues are sitting here from GSK, I work for companies where they would invest in talent, so I've worked in Singapore, in London, Turkey, Sweden. I'm currently based between Dubai and Pakistan. But I've been in HR for a very long time. What I saw, the conversation, people would have, my bosses would have with me, and people would have with me. When is their next promotion? Where can they go and relocate? Yeah? Now, which still holds true, but you're seeing this trend, which some of you said, that you काम करेंगे and then we'll move out. So, if you are in that mindset, how do you have career conversations? And how do you help someone to develop? Any thoughts? Okay, so those of you who said that maybe we'll work for a few years and then we'll start on your own, how do you think, maybe I'm going to address it to you directly, because some of you said, how do you think people can help you?
Providing the flexibility and the options, the resources they need.
Exactly. So providing experiences. So there's a need to have a conversation around promotion. Because what will you do with that promotion अगर आपके पास relevant experience नहीं होगा? Right? So this is the first thing. What else do you think you need? Because you're saying, I'm going to work, भाई हमारा ज़माना कहते ना पुराना सब structured था. आप पहले ये रोल करेंगे, फिर आपका assignment यहाँ निकलेगा, आप talent 1 and 2 and whatever the boxes were, which are not relevant anymore. But we had a structure. We got exposure. But today, most of, and this is not here, my last corporate job was with PepsiCo. I visited universities in South Africa, Egypt, Saudi, Pakistan of course, India, in my markets. All of them, this was in 2022, they said that we may work, because students said, no, graduate currently, they said we may work, we may not work, but we will start our own thing. So, okay. Now the question is, okay, what is the mindset do you guys need? Instant gratification, but what is the mindset you need to make sure you stay relevant? हमें तो structure मिला हुआ था. We were pushed. I mean, अगर आप पाकिस्तान से उठ के एकदम से एक टर्की बड़ा market, बड़ा region, nobody speaks English, nobody speaks Urdu, and you are managing a region. You also have to manage your own emotions. You also have to manage a team. Exposure है, risk भी है. You can be fired also. But there is a challenge. How do you think you can get that challenge right now. When you're thinking I'm going to be working for a few years, and when things get toxic, I'm going to leave.
That's sort of like
Huh?
living in the now.
Living in the now?
Reinforcement, getting yourself recognized again and again because fat is there and it wipes out.
Absolutely. So the other thing is, one we said that bosses की तरफ से या support जो भी है mentors and they give you different experiences. Promotion conversation may or may not be relevant alone. The second thing is that desire to do things on your own. Now what I'm going to do I think I do have a presentation. है ना मेरी presentation? अगर है उसमें सिर्फ एक स्लाइड चाहिए मुझे वैसे है इसको प्ले कर लीजिए सर अच्छा I need to play it sorry what are you saying अभी ढूंढेंगे अच्छा तो आप ढूंढिए जब तक doesn't matter हाँ
जो स्टार्टअप माइंडसेट है कि अभी जॉब कर रहे हैं आफ्टर सम टाइम अभी ओन बिजनेस और स्मॉल और बिग तो उसमें भी साइड ना दो चीज़ें चल रही होती हैं एक अपनी जॉब करके जो है ना अब सेविंग चल रही होती है हम स्टार्ट से जाने इस तरीके से अपने बिजनेस में इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे देन बी साइड पर वो उसमें एक ऑब्जर्वेशन चल रही थी मेरा बॉस कैसा है जब मैं एज ए ऑनर या एज ए बॉस रहूँगा तो वो अभी एक लर्निंग भी चल रही होती है कि मैं मेरे बॉस ने या वॉट एवर गुड थाट्स जो बॉस से उन्होंने लर्न की वो वहाँ पे जाके एग्जीक्यूट कर दें ठीक है और अपने बिजनेस से भी मैं काफ़ी ज़्यादा लर्निंग होती थी यहाँ मेरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ये किया था तो यहाँ पर उन्हें जाके बेनिफिट हुआ यहाँ पे बेनिफिट नहीं हुआ कुछ प्रॉफिट का डाउनफॉल आया या तो ये सारी चीज़ें लर्निंग
So, I agree. You're also learning and observing. Now, that's another story. This is not for today's session, but we will talk a little bit about reinvention and personal transformation. मेरा अपना ये मानना है, and I have done it. You know, the first time I thought about setting up my own company, because my nature is a little bit disruptive. I don't like structure. So knowing yourself is very important. Was it 2017? But why did I not jump? Because हर दफा मुझे financial security and the job was always, it's a path that I know. And when you jump, you really have to jump. So I know a lot of people in corporate, they stay forever saying कि बस अब हम move करेंगे और ये नहीं होगा. ये मैं, you know, I'm so sorry to break it to you. And that's very important to know. Because then you focus on, I mean, it's okay. There are thousands of brilliant industries, brilliant exposure that you get by working in a structured environment. All I'm saying, you cannot be in two boats. Two, whichever boat you have taken, whether you're developing your own brand or you're working for a company, get the best out of it because this is the only thing which is in our control. Right? So I came across this article because as an HR professional, I'm very curious how the talent management is being done, because for some of you who think about 9box or talent, they're really not working because people have different expectations. Plus the options, gig economy, you know, you can work at your own pace. The options are there for you to make money, which were a little less back then when I started my career. So the world has changed. Secondly, if you are in a middle management or senior leaders, you are also responsible to develop your team. So how do you have an authentic, related conversation? You're not going to punish them just because they're saying कि भाई हम 2 साल के लिए हैं. You're not going to say कि भाई आप इनको side पे park कर दो. No, for the 2 years you're going to get the maximum out of them. So no matter what they do later on is up to them. So the traditional career model is not working. How many of you are still having those conversations with your team or with others on traditional model? Traditional model means कि क्या मेरी rating है, क्या मेरी performance है. I mean, of course you do your hygiene, you will still move companies, वो तो आप सब करेंगे. But how many of you are still having those conversations? Yeah, how are they working for you? More and more. And you see this even in conferences and training. I do this for a living. Now people don't want to sit in trainings and because you know दुनिया बहुत आगे चली गई है. आपको कोई चीज सीखनी है आपको TikTok में 2 मिनट के अंदर और 5 मिनट के अंदर you'll find a fantastic YouTube. Why do you have to spend the whole day sitting in one room which is also cold and cold sandwiches? right? Sometimes you get good food, but not all the time. So our expectation from workplace, now, so I don't know if you know, WIBCON, I co-founded in 2009, GSK, when I became the HR director. उस टाइम पे कोई औरतों का फोरम नहीं था. So point being, उस टाइम पे ये बड़ी novelty भी बात थी कि हम यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं, करें. अभी, for how many of you it's a novelty? No, because you probably follow someone that you admire in any case. So the expectations have changed, the rule of career has changed. So now I wanted, and maybe I wanted you to work in groups. So this can be group 1, all of you, and maybe you can sit together. Group 2, right? Yahan se le le. Group 3, and the last one, if you can sit together. Because this is the idea. You're sitting here, you've come here not to look at me. मेरा YouTube channel follow करें, उसमें बहुत tips हैं. But here you are to also learn from each other and share your opinion. What I want you to do. Group 1, Sam Altman के Google, आपके पास नेट चल रहा है? एक बंदा अपना फोन निकाले और उसमें Google करे Sam Altman, how to be successful in your career, and just read about compound yourself and have a discussion amongst yourself. Group 2, have almost too much self-belief. Have a discussion. Group 3, कौन सा था group? Group 3 ये वाला था. Learn to think independently, and the final one, get good at sales. This is one of the best articles in the recent sort of thing, which is written by Sam Altman. So please go and sit in your groups. I'll give you 5 minutes, have a discussion, take out your mobile phone and talk about that article in your group. But point number 1, point number 2, point number 3 and point number 4. Okay? And then of course appoint someone from your team because you're going to give us what that article talks about that particular point. Okay? So how are you sitting? Sorry.
You are bifurcated in what manner?
So this is team 1, but you guys are sitting on your own. Sit together because you need to have a conversation with each other. This is an opportunity. Do you guys know each other? So learn from each other. Okay. This is group 2. Can you guys shift there? Because we're talking about faster transformation. Sorry, we can now stop the discussion. And yeah, one thing I'll tell you, whether you're working for corporate or setting up your own thing, जो ये last वाला point है ना, get good at sales. What it requires is confidence to reach out to other people. Your visibility is your credibility. How you are showing up. If you're sitting in a conference and I can't see you and you're being shy and the other person doesn't know, you have made a zero impact. And they will not remember you. But, flip side, you meet strangers, which is very uncomfortable. You introduce yourself, you reach out and you have a good energy. People will remember, and let me tell you one thing, चाहे business हो या नौकरी हो या promotion हो, वो लोगों को जब ही मिलती है जब people like you.
So you're not being.
So and for women, when we stay in our own huddles and we are shy, comfortable in paying corporate calls, so why are you here? Go home then. If you're here, make the maximum because you have somebody's paying for your ticket. कल को अपना करेंगे तो कोई आपको टिकट का भी नहीं देगा. You know, probably have to invest yourself.
So, okay. Thanks.
Am I audible? Now I am, and too much audible. So, yes, as a group we went to the essay theme on Compound Yourself by Sam Altman. And just to give you a brief overview about what this article says, it basically takes in the methodology of financial compounding into, how you can use it for your self-development. So he says that, if you growth and development is exponential, so you start investing in yourself, in smaller bits in the short term, and the long term that leads to your self-development. So one of our team members, he has also for us and you guys, noted down some key pointers, some reflections from the article, which I'll read for you all. Small growth repeated over time becomes very big. Choose work or businesses that can grow fast using technology, people, or strong networks. Build skills where your impact increases more and more with experience. Don't waste time on small opportunities if bigger ones are possible. Think long term, stay patient, and trust gradual growth. Anyone else would like to add anything?
Thank you so much for narrating about the meaning of compound yourself. My name is Dr. Mohammad Shiraz, working in the same organization, GSK, taking care of the training department. So I see this compound yourself from your first question, which you asked that why Gen Z wants to leave the organization and want to start their own setup. So there are a couple of the answer, and one of the answer is basically their self-inspiration. But I see the picture a little different. So I will quote one of the law, which is called the Burke-Liquid law. And that Burke-Liquid law says that there is a change in the external environment. And if you don't change as per the requirement of the external environment, you will be left behind. And we have very good examples. How many of you right now have the Nokia mobile phone in your pocket or purse? Please raise your hand. No one? अगर मैं ये सवाल आज से 15 साल पहले कर रहा होता तो फिर क्या होता?
Some people
100%. What happened to Nokia?
So,
They didn't change.
Yes.
The change in the external environment. So my answer to that question is Gen Z is sensing that external environment very well compared to us. That's what. And why you need to compounding yourself? Because the external environment changing all the time. So you have to be on your toes in terms of learning new skills, which is happening in the external environment. You have to new culture, which is happening in the external environment. You have to learn new behavior. You have to learn building new connection because the external environment is changing.
excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. And this is important, right? Because he talks about Sam Altman, but he also talks about create environment where you grow fast, right? So again, if we are relying on someone, a line manager, an HR, I think we are giving our growth away. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Group number 2.
When you are in corporate, you are working, you are in field, so self-belief is very important. Nobody is perfect, so we have our strengths with the weakness or lackings. So still, if we are working, so we will work, we will be coping up with our lackings, but still we do not need to self-doubt. So self-belief is very important, but there is always a but. But the balance between self-belief and self-awareness is also very crucial. It's not like if you are having too much self-belief and you are living in delusion and bubble, so it will, hurdle your successful path. So what is the key takeaway for me from this article is that self-awareness is also similarly crucial and important for you if you have, and that's the example I have shared with this team. When I had my team, then when I received the feedback from them, that was the moment and time when I realized that yes, this is the thing which I also need to work on it. Otherwise, it was like under the self-belief umbrella that it was hidden. It was not that much highlighted before. So that was my perspective, and if you want to add.
I had observed one of the more thing. Good judgment is also a helpful thing for us because good judgment has a good judgment because हमें पता है कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, right or wrong, ठीक है, minimize. तो गुड जज अपने लिए या अदर्स के लिए है रस पीपल सिमिलर होना चाहिए, ठीक है. और दूसरी कंपटीशन आती है, हम जो पेयर से साथ काम कर रहे हैं उसमें से भी हमें अगर कंपटीशन करते हैं तो हमें अपनी भी सेल्फ ग्रोइंग का जो है ना एक आइडिया मिलता रहता है कि क्या चीज़ मेरे अंदर कम है, उसको मैं आई कैन इम्प्रूव इट. या
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think it's got to do with self-awareness, with the function.
या
Get it back to self-belief. कि कोई जल्दी प्रमोट हो गया, आप नहीं हुए, किसी को जॉब मिल गई, आप नहीं मिली. So having that self-belief, meaning being confident about your abilities. Thank you. And you say.
Because of that, now the whole modus operandi of things is changing, and essentially what really now is the need of the day is that people to think outside the box, to brainstorm, to let the challenges come to them so that they can evolve as human beings. And making mistakes also is part of the journey. So the more you make mistakes, the more better you get at it. So the whole lens of looking at things is changing, and what essentially will propel people through is how they open their thinking in, and what is the broader perspective they have of things and how much of a risk taker they are in some way. But essentially, the thing in it. Buying this cloud.
So I think, but this is an interesting. So because
We are used to horde thinking, right? Whatever peers are saying and we comply. Thinking independently requires a lot of courage and self-belief. That means you share whatever is on your mind, which also means that you're getting different experiences. Because अगर आप एक ही जगह पे बैठ रहे हैं, एक ही जगह से लोगों से मिल रहे हैं, it's very difficult to get independent thinking. So everything is interconnected, but for us to grow, we need to have our own thinking, which is basically coming from our own wisdom. Thank you. So whenever I do coaching, which is relatively new in this part of the world, everybody says कि आप बताएं क्या करना है. I have no idea क्या करना है. But that requires independent thinking. Get what I'm saying.
that we need to show up in person. As art men also used to get up on the field because we won't have to underestimate the presence of a physical appearance that is important when you're selling your own product. And most of all, good communication skills are actually very important when we're selling something. And
yes, the part that resonated with me the most was the evangelization of the vision when it comes to sales. And what that essentially meant in this article was that every job that you do at its basic level is sales. So for example, if you're in supply chain, let's take a very non-sales role. If you're in supply chain and you want to reduce your cost or you want to procure a material at a lesser price, what you're selling in return to that is the long-term relationship with that supplier, right? So this resonated with me especially because I think sales is not just your retail sales, it's not your automotive sales, it's not the sales you do when you stand at a shop, no. Sales, in its various sense, is the power of your word and the waves it makes when it's heard. So that's sales.
Of course. I mean, so I just want to summarize what they have just said. So as your career progresses, if you want to get promoted or anything, everything becomes a sales job. So like just Nandya said, you are in supply chain or finance or anything. But if you want to grow in your career, everything will turn a sales job and you have to master that skill in order to progress in your career. Please start. My train. One more point I want to add is that embrace your rejection and practice. So in that point, I have realized that sales job में आपको बहुत सारी rejections feel करनी पड़ती है. But it doesn't mean कि आप इसको as a failure consider करें. Rejection means कि आपके लिए आगे बहुत सारे रास्ते खुले हैं. Just go and go with the flow and believe yourself. Most important.
And just like to add to all the amazing points that have been said, the first and the foremost, most important part of selling is being able to sell yourself. So that's essentially what you do at an interview. That's where your sales career kind of begins.
Excellent. Okay, the mic. So Alex, what that is, when you are completing or something, you need to sell your idea, especially for the knowledge to put it to yourself. That's very important. Otherwise, your promotion is somewhere left behind and you're not being promoted. You need to know when you're presenting an idea, that's something, but how you present it, that's really very important. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Because this is where I feel a lot of people feel very shy. We don't want to connect with others. We don't want to talk about our ideas because we feel the rejection बन जाएगी, लोगों को पसंद नहीं आएगा. And I actually believe this is probably the deal maker here. Even if you have self-belief, but nobody knows. I mean, so be out there. People will like you, people will not like you, but that's what it is. It's not your problem, it's someone else's problem. So, and I also believe, coming from this part of the world, we are very bad at it. Actually, both men and women. Very few people are good in selling. Most of them are actually CEOs. They've actually become a CEO. Because they're good, they're confident, they walk into the room. Like if I ask people, is conference में कितने लोग हैं? 900 कितने लोग हैं outfits? 500-600, I don't know. How many women, if they came with a target, कि या तो मैं अपना कोई mentor यहाँ से ढूंढूंगी, या maybe I'll find a new job and I'll create that relationship, or maybe I'll find a new friend different from me, or maybe I'll sell something. How many of them came with that target? You did.
Good. Because that's what smart people do. You just not come here to have biryani and zarda, right? So only sales people think like that. They show up.
Brilliant, so what?
Ah.
So keeping in mind all these scope for a city scope, say, and makes it with a sales or maybe for a lead, like said, what makes it quantitative skills? So where do you see the importance of emotional intelligence in terms of the stated role? Where we know that the ticket driven should earn this, I'm interested in the language, slaughters, sales, slaughters.
It's your passing, yeah. But this is all emotional intelligence because compound yourself requires understanding yourself and having that maturity, a wisdom कि मुझे कुछ नया सीखना है. That requires a wiser conversation. Almost self-belief and self-awareness is a sure sign of emotional maturity. Learn to think independently. That means you have such strong ability to think on your own. आप किसी से convince नहीं हो जाएंगे. Just because something, क्योंकि gossips में बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है. You get involved into other people's drama. If you can detach yourself, you have emotional intelligence. Get good at it. Sales requires very strong interpersonal skills. अगर आपकी energy अच्छी नहीं है, मुंह में smile, you're not, people can't see your smile, you're hidden somewhere, and people move on. Nobody has time for you.
Well, nowadays, in fact, I would say that when I was like, I was there for the for instance, is when you're paid to
तो सेल्फ बिलीफ चाहिए ना उसके लिए क्योंकि यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा वैलिडेशन चाहिए होता है एम आई वेरिंग द राइट क्लोथ्स आई डोंट नो ये थोड़ा मतलब ये ना अगर वैसे में लगता है तो खत्म no this is what I want to get confident but not arrogance people look like arrogance but people like confidence हमारे words can we use I think maybe तुम चले जाओ बॉस से बात कर लो let it be पीछे बात कर ले that means you're not confident and nobody will listen so I think that requires courage now Amna has walked in just at the right time Amna come here so what will give Tasa Society for Trade Development we started with WIBCON but we feel there is a need for women on leadership development and this is specifically designed for corporate and we will be reaching out. It's a 6-month journey which would look like this. And you can take a picture of this if you like. There is a PSTD desk here. You can share it with your HR, with your women executives. We also want to design the content with your help. People who will participate. Another thing I tell you, this is not a nomination based. We will have a selection. So people who apply, we will select. Then there will be some sort of personality assessment, group coaching, monthly sort of technical coaching sessions. We will have a networking night because we do want people to get out of their comfort zone. And there will be individual summary report on each individual, how they are showing up from our perspective. Amna and I are the contact people. So you can get in touch, you can take a picture, you can ask questions later on, but also your friends and colleagues who are sitting in the conference. We will reach out, we will prepare a flyer, but अगर आपको interest है इसकी co-creation में भी, you want to be in the program, but also want to co-create, we'll mention that. Now some of you are, and I'll be sort of honest here, taking the liberty, if you have less than 5 years of work experience, this program is not for you. Because they're putting in a huge thought in terms of how we can accelerate. So either they want to pivot to do something else or get to a director level within their company, how do we prepare them? So if you are a little younger, this intervention may not be appropriate for them. It could also be relevant for business owners because you need to show up in a certain way. So that's it from my side. If there are any other questions, otherwise thank you so much.
It's been